Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to our virtual percussion ensemble concert. My name is Dr. Kellen King, director of the Western Oregon University Percussion Ensemble. So this spring term, our personnel is made up of Elijah Thompson, Max Kilby, Nick Denning, Cole Horning, and Ian McCrary. Because we had to learn remotely due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we really had to figure out how to think outside the box so we could create this music remotely, because we can't really just start shipping all our normal instrumentation, because as you may notice, our field percussion instruments tend to be rather big in size, so we can't go shipping marimbas, vibraphones, timpani, drum sets, all of it. So we really got together and started to figure out how we're going to make this happen. And I think they've done just a phenomenal job of putting this concert together. They've worked tirelessly over the spring term, not only on this repertoire, but in their lessons and their other studies. So I'm really proud of what they've done for this concert, and we're really excited to share it with you. So tonight we're going to be performing 5 pieces for you. Life is Blank by Jason Truding, Clapping Music by Steve Reich, Living Room Music by John Cage, Piano Phase by Steve Reich, and Water by Jason Truding. So the first piece, Life is Blank by Jason Truding, it's essentially based on constructing rhythms out of letters and words. And these words are gathered from a published news source, so a newspaper, magazine, journal article, etc. Each performer will choose a topic word that encapsulates the article they picked. So the word could be sports, politics, business, arts, anything like that. And then they're going to go on to pick a number of different words that fit into that topic. So these topics are what we call the interludes, and that tie together each section of the piece. So when you hear unison rhythms between all 4 performers, you're actually hearing one of those topic words. Anytime that you're not hearing that, they're playing through a series of other words, so you're going to be hearing lots of interlocking rhythms. And the way those rhythms are constructed is if you hear like a straight rhythm, like a 1, 2, 3, that's when you're hearing a consonant letter. Anytime you're hearing a syncopated rhythm, like a 1-E, that's a vowel. So in essence, they're playing all their words for you, but with all these rhythms. So each performer has different words, different rhythmic groupings, but mathematically it all works out and they all sync up to play their interludes together. You're also going to hear them playing melody on top of these rhythms in certain sections. And these melodies you're going to hear when they're playing also on top of the consonant letters as well. So now they have a little bit of a background information on how the piece works. We'll start off our concert with Life is Blank by Jason Truding. Our second piece is one that is covered in most music history and or music theory courses during an undergraduate degree. It's called Clapping Music by Steve Reich. So Steve Reich is an American composer who is known as being one of the leading exponents in minimalism. And that's essentially a style which is based on repetitions and combinations of simple motifs and harmonies, in this case, one simple rhythm. So one player is going to stay on that rhythm as the rock, never moving, while the other player is going to be shifting the pattern around by 1/8 note, and it's going to be transforming into an interlocking composite rhythm. So we're going to hear the performers moving through this cycle of shifting patterns by 1/8 note at a time until they arrive back at the original motif. Without further ado, this is Clapping Music by Steve Reich. Next on our program is a piece that's very popular among percussionists and fans of new music, Living Room Music by John Cage. John Cage was an American composer whose inventive compositions and some would say unorthodox ideas profoundly influenced mid-20th century music. During his career, he began to experiment with prepared instruments, tape recorders, record players, radios, normal household items, all essentially in an effort to step outside the bounds of conventional Western music. His music has profoundly influenced much of the new music repertoire we perform to this day. So this piece is really to be performed with any household objects as you see fit, and you'll see that in our performance. This is Living Room Music by John Cage. Piano Phase by Steve Reich, also called Marimba Phase when he later adapted it for two marimbas, is based on one performer playing a motif and staying as the constant, while the other is shifting the beat, which is similar to clapping music. However, the player that moves the beat is not shifting the beat, but rather phasing into it. This moving player will ever so slightly speed up and push ahead, while the other player just remains constant. So, meaning in clapping music, the moving player would immediately shift to the next beat and shift to the next beat and so forth. In piano phase, we're ever so slightly pushing ahead and locking into the next beat, and then pushing ahead, phasing to the next beat. So this piece usually lasts anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the performers. But this is a fairly shorter version, meaning that the phases you're going to hear are generally moving through much quicker, mainly just for the reason of this being a virtual concert. This is Piano Phase by Steve Reich. Last on our program tonight is a piece called Water by Jason Truding. Jason's a founding and current member of the influential quartet WOU Percussion. The piece itself, Water, exists in 3 parts, with melodies that are split up between the performers in part 1, harmonies and rhythmic accompaniment in part 2, and ambient sounds in part 3. In our performance, you'll hear electronic accompaniment throughout the work. This is Water by Jason Truding. Thank you all very much for tuning into our virtual percussion ensemble concert tonight here at Western Oregon University. The students have worked very hard over the past 10 weeks to make this concert happen, and we're thrilled to have shared it with you. We're very excited to get back into our ensemble playing this fall, and we look forward to seeing you at our next concert, whether it's live or virtual. Thank you all for joining us, and have a good evening.